Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katy.
Let's talk Tri-State.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tri-State, powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice, winner of the 2024 Best of the Tri-State Award.
Carl's Drug Store, been in business for 200 years. They're doing something right. And with us today, our next guest, we have Wayne Myers, who is the owner. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Well, sure. Thanks for having me.
200 years in business.
Yeah, so we're going on 200 years next summer. In 2025 will be the 200th year for Carl's Drug. And yeah, it's kind of amazing. It is the longest running independent pharmacy in America.
Wow.
Whoa.
So it's a piece of history right here in Greencastle.
And how long have you owned?
So we've had ownership, I've had ownership since last August.
Okay.
So it's kind of like we're buying a piece of history here
Absolutely.
right now.
And
So-
preserving it.
And preserving it, yeah. So it's had a long history here in Greencastle, obviously. So this, I think we're in the 5th location. It was downtown Greencastle and moved multiple times there on Baltimore Street. And then has been in our current location since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So
If I remember correctly, wasn't it originally a Rexall drugstore? Carl's Rexall? Is that correct?
there was Rexall there, but that
Right.
I'd have to verify that, but I think you're right.
I think if you look on the side of the
it's
building.
still on the side
Yes.
of the building.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely is. And so probably had a different affiliation over
Sure.
the years. But Carl's is, people might not even know, Carl's is the last name of the original people who owned Carl's Drug Store. And he was the original owner was a physician, and then it progressed, and it was 5 generations of Carl's who owned it. And then Frank Irvin, who is a local Greencastle person in charge of Old Home Week, has been very invested in Greencastle for many, many years. Could talk the history so much better than I could. He actually still owns the property. He's my landlord.
Okay.
And so great guy, very involved. Again, he's preserved a lot of it. We have a safe there from the 1850s. A lot of other miscellaneous things, some good pictures of the Carl's family right there in the store. So again, piece of history right here in Greencastle.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but you don't just own Carl's Drug. There may be some folks from Chambersburg who are familiar with one of your other pharmacies.
Sure. So we took over ownership of Carl's last year. We've owned and operated Norland Avenue Pharmacy since 2001. We started that from scratch. So I kind of go from one extreme to the other, seeing something from its beginning at Norland Avenue Pharmacy to taking over a store that's been in existence for 200 years.
My wife would travel. She uses Norland Avenue.
Oh, okay.
She
Great.
would travel 2 hours to keep Norland Avenue Pharmacy if that's what it took. She just, and I agree. Because I'm kind of, okay, if I need medication, I just need to get the medication.
Yeah.
Because I have not had in my entire life that personal and personable experience with the pharmacist or the pharmacist staff until I saw my wife Mary get it at Norland Avenue Pharmacy, and I thought, wow, I've been missing out.
Well, wonderful. Great.
So it was,
Yeah.
so kudos to you, your staff. They are all so kind and so caring, and boy, do they move the line very expeditiously, but not without still keeping those personal touches.
Personal care, yeah.
I think that's very important.
Thank you. And the independent pharmacy, I think, prides themselves in being very service-oriented, and I think it's true. I think we know our communities. We love to be involved in our communities, but we want that personal service. I have great staff, and they very much care about the people that come in and out of our doors, both at Norland and Carl's Drug. So
Walk us through the pharmacy. If you walk into Carl's Drug Store, what outside of the pharmacy, what can you expect?
Well, I mean, it's a traditional pharmacy, first of all, so we'll fill your regular prescription. The footprint is you come in, you can drop off your script or pick it up there at the counter. But what you're going to see is traditional over-the-counter items, your Tylenols, your Motrins of the world. But what we've done since we've taken over is we've really added to our gift shop there. And we've created some Greencastle wear and everything, so some Greencastle merchandise that I think people were looking for or were asking for, but a variety of gifts from purses, That's what my wife does. She could probably go into a lot more detail than I could. But
she's your merchandise manager, as it were.
She is
She's
our merchandise manager, the buyer, and she does it at Norland. And she's brought a lot of similar things from Norland, but she's brought some unique things to Carl's as well. But then there are greeting cards in there as well. And we also are very nutrition minded. So we have a lot of supplements there as well. We firmly believe that prevention is much better than coming up with a cure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So.
Do you have the old school milkshake seats in the back of the pharmacy?
Well, I think that's a great idea, but we do not currently. I've kicked that idea around, quite frankly, just because of the history and thinking about what pharmacies used to be like. To have the soda fountain there would be a lot of fun. Now, might need to add a little space. Might need to talk to Frank and how have him help us remodel.
Well, because the Sunnyway Diner is no longer the diner, correct?
It's not.
So there you go. There's a need for a soda fountain.
Yeah.
And keep the prices the same as they were.
Sure, right.
For a quarter, you get a malt milkshake on a red stool.
What Katie's saying is she needs somewhere to go.
Yeah, she needs a sugar fix in the middle of the afternoon, right?
I was saying earlier that I used to live in a very, very small town in Virginia where there was a very old pharmacy, and you walk to the back and they had the old school malt milkshake and the red seats, and it was such a cool thing to do in that town. It really was a very unique aspect to the town. So if you're ever thinking, hey, what do we want to add here?
We want to do some remodeling. That's a great idea. We've been kicking around doing. Can we fit a drive-through in there though too? That's what people want nowadays too. They want a drive-through. They want that convenience and ease of picking up their prescription. So.
And speaking of convenience, do you offer medication delivery?
We do. So we deliver within the Greencastle area. I don't remember all the exact details for Carl's, but we will go up to, I think, 20 miles out if we have to, with a fee for that further out. But within the borough, I think everything is free delivery. So, and that can happen every day. Speaking of convenience, though, too, what we do within medication is we talk about medication adherence. We'll do compliance packaging, meaning we'll fill all your prescriptions the same day every month. So you only have to come in once, or we only would need to deliver to you one time. But it might be in some type of packaging that has all your meds for that dose in one packet. Okay. So we call the whole program synchronization, but then we might use some dispill packaging to, again, in one little bubble is all your medication for the morning. A separate one might be for your afternoon dosing. So it makes it easier to remember what you need to take.
And tell us a little bit about you, Wayne. What's your background? Are you from this area?
So I am. I've grown up in the area. I went to Waynesboro High School once upon a time, which seems like another lifetime ago. I'm sure you guys understand. I actually was in Waynesboro this morning, and I was at the police department to get fingerprinted for something totally separate. I wasn't.
Shame on you.
I know. It's no problem whatsoever. But the officer, Steve Sanders, says, "Wayne, we graduated together," and I was like, "Oh my, yeah, that was another lifetime ago." But anyhow, so Waynesboro graduate, went to Shippensburg University for my undergraduate, and then went to University of Maryland for pharmacy school. So basically the whole decade of the 90s, I was in school of some type. Graduated with a pharmacy degree in 1999. Worked in Baltimore area for a little bit, met my wife. We there and then moved back to Chambersburg area to start Norland Avenue Pharmacy. It was kind of, I would say, very providential in how we ended up being back here and partnering with another pharmacy owner to start Norland Avenue Pharmacy.
Let me ask you a question, Wayne. When it comes to, I think a lot of people have an area of frustration when it comes to getting their medications filled, and that is, I think what it boils down to is communication, or an unwillingness to communicate, whether it be with the doctor and the pharmacy to the doctor, and vice versa. How do you combat that?
Yep.
First of all, I'm assuming you know what if you have to do prior authorizations and insurance
Correct.
requires this.
Right. Insurance dictates a lot nowadays.
Right.
And so we do have to work with the insurance company, with the doctor's offices. But yeah, a lot of times people are on a medication that the insurance wants prior approval for. And so we communicate with the doctor's office in that sort of situation. And then the doctor's office has to communicate with the insurance company. But we facilitate it. It's through a program called Cover My Meds, but basically we fax the form that the doctor's office needs right to them. Then they can send it on to the insurance company. Now the insurance company still says yes or no, and sometimes that's not even communicated back to us. So what we're doing is constant reminders, faxes, text messages to the patient. So if we get the prescription, we get it filled, a text message or a voice message will go out to the patient automatically. So we do a lot of things through automation to keep the customer in the loop, the patient in the loop.
Because I know a lot of times as well, as you just said, sometimes the insurance company does not communicate back to you the decision.
They don't.
But they will communicate to the policyholder.
Correct.
And sometimes that's either lost in an email or they pick up their mail at the mailbox and it may get thrown. So they may not even realize that there's an important form that they're looking for, whereas you may be able to bridge that gap and say, well, you might want to check because it's well past the time you would have gotten an answer.
Correct. And we try to explain that to folks. It happens on a pretty regular basis. It keeps the doctor's office busy. It keeps us busy because it's extra work to fill that prescription. But again, though, so you run out of a refill. I mean, your doctor might put 6 refills on a prescription. Once it gets to that final refill, we're going to be faxing the doctor's office or sending them a message through the computer and trying to keep, that communication line open.
I was just thinking, I'm kind of in that boat with you. I don't know if I've ever had a very personable experience when picking up my prescriptions.
Yeah.
And I can imagine it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
It makes the experience so much more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes me smile, though, too. There's certain things we do, like we have an automated birthday call that goes out, and so many times people will say, thanks for wishing me happy birthday, and I'm like, yeah, I knew it was your birthday, but I didn't really know. But that automated message, and it's our staff basically wishing them a happy birthday. But I think a lot of people don't even get, as adults, right? Have people, maybe we want to forget about our birthdays, but still.
No.
But people like being acknowledged that. They want to go where, it's the old Cheers. I do know some TV. Cheers from,
Where everyone knows your name.
Everyone knows your name, and that's that personal experience at the community pharmacy. And here at Carl's, I have some wonderful staff. Shouldn't start naming our staff because I'd probably forget somebody and leave somebody out. But they do a great job of knowing people as they come in the door, greeting them, and getting things ready for them and making it a personal experience.
When your staff has a sense of pride, whenever anyone has a sense of pride in what they are doing as their job, it is a massive difference. It is a game changer, whatever descriptor you want to put on that. But that all starts from the top. Yeah. And you have continued that community. I think what's happened is a lot of the pharmacies, we think is a matter of convenience, and in a lot of ways it is, but people are dealing with something. Look, no one goes to the pharmacist because they're 100% well.
No, right.
So that's already a stressful situation. We're dealing with your health. In many cases, some of this medication, as you know better than anyone here, we're dealing with life and death in a lot of cases.
We are. Yep.
And you are able to, at the very least, attempt to bring back down to the human form, to the personable experience. Yes, we understand this is serious. We are an advocate for you. We're doing our level best to make sure that you get the care and service that you need. And in an otherwise super stressful situation, I think anything that you can do to lessen that is of immense importance to people. And it seems like you know that. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, part of our core values are to be God-centered, family-oriented, and have integrity always. And I think, God-centered means we're doing the golden rule. We're treating people as we want to be treated. So we're trying to take care of them. And we recognize that people come in, they might have just gotten bad news of a diagnosis. They might be in pain or feeling really, really bad. And so they need some extra care. They need some encouragement. They might need a prayer. They might need a smile, and so our staff are tremendous at that. Yeah.
I can definitely feel the pride.
Yeah.
I like it. With our last minute that we have here, Wayne, just let us know, where can people find you?
Yeah.
Website.
Yeah. So carlsdrugstore.com, and I think it's just carlsdrug.com, but would be our website, NorlandAvenuePharmacy.com as well. So I did want to say about the 200th anniversary. We're going to celebrate it in conjunction with Old Home Week next summer.
Oh, great.
So I think we're going to be sponsoring Old Home Week and making it a really big deal. So I'm already looking forward to helping celebrate 200 years of Carl's Drug Store.
That'll be my first one, too.
Yeah.
There's one question, one aspect of this that we didn't hit on, but I think it's very important because it's probably the difference between someone choosing a family-owned community drugstore such as Carl's or Norland Avenue versus going with one of the big box places that, the national chains, is the process for switching pharmacies seems very overwhelming. And take us through that. If someone is listening to this and watching this and they say, I love what I hear, that's what I want, but it's just going to be so hard to do it. What's that process look like?
Yeah, actually, it's really easy. Just calling the pharmacy and saying, giving us your information, so we should include your insurance information, and saying, my prescriptions are currently at whatever other store. We will call that store, they'll transfer the information to us, and we'll be able to fill your prescriptions. Or it could be as easy as the next time you're at the doc, say, instead of sending it to my old store, send it to Carl's Drug. And we can take care of you there too. A lot of times people's concerns are what my copays will be. The perception is that will be more expensive. That's not always the case, and many times it's the copays the same. Sometimes we can be cheaper than mail order too, and so that sometimes people think, oh, I can ship it away for this. We might be able to fill it outside of your insurance for less than what they get it through their insurance.
Great.
So, but yeah, but pretty easy process though.
Wayne setting minds at ease all throughout the area.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for what you do and for coming in and spending some time with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This was great. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to take our next look at news and sports, and it's all powered by 2A Arms LLC, 2A MPA, Firearms and Freedom.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.